for their party in Tobago. And I've said it before, if you look at the history of the PNM, the Tobago scenario has simply been 2 additional seats out of the general election total that they could count on. That's all they viewed Tobago as. That's the reality of the history of PNM in Tobago. You look back to the days when Dr. Eric Williams turned his back on Tobago. He spat out Tobago. He had nothing to do with Tobago because he didn't care about Tobago. And that has been the history of the PNM in relation to Tobago. But they recognize the value of the 2 seats. So as a result, they've courted and entreated, and the point is they are now in power. We must respect that and we must thank them for that. But I am saying, if Tobago has to move forward, there has to be a new thinking, a new vision. And even among, and this is part of your question, even among the opposition parties, there needs to be new thinking and new vision there. Because you recognize the TOP had a golden opportunity, they squandered it, and therefore, as a result, the people would be very wary and suspicious of the TOP coming forth in their present incarnation to say they are taking us anywhere. The Platform for Truth, Mr. Ho Choi Charles, as I've always said, he's all heart, but very little else, in terms of that. So the point is, you have to have new leaders coming forward, and there are persons who are out there who are willing, but they just need to be able to coalesce around some kind of idea or movement that can now propel Tobago forward. And it has to be one that is all-encompassing and one that does not drive these political wedges. So in other words, after elections are won, you don't want a party saying, well, you from the other party, so therefore you're not getting employment or we're going to terminate your jobs. That's nonsense. That is what has been killing Tobago. I want us to wake up and see that. I want Tobago to wake up and shake up.
I feel as though I need to interject and state here that the views of Martin George are not necessarily the views of Tobago Channel 5. I feel like I need to put that out there. And that's just to safeguard us. So as we may be requiring some of his services. Mr. George, we're wrapping up here with you. With regards here, the issue of consultation on these bills.
Well, right. So the essence of what I've said is that I would strongly urge Tobagonians, do not waste your time, your energies, your efforts, or your transport money going to sit down in any of these useless consultations. With the greatest of respect, they are going to get us nowhere. You will not see, and I say this categorically, under the reign of Mr. Orville London, you will not get self-governance.
But doesn't
he will leave office and you will not get self-governance. So don't let him consume your time and your energies and your efforts in this, useless exercise. What you need to do is start taking the scales off your eyes. The Bible tells us, let us remove the scales from our eyes. Let us understand that if you go up on the mountaintop, you have a greater vision. The Bible tells you, shout it from the mountaintops. Shout that expression of hope and freedom for a new vision for Tobago. And you'll recognize that your old ways are no more. And you are a new man.
But as a lawyer, Mr. George, we must follow the legal processes. And this is what the process is at the time at now.
No. It's a draft bill. But what I'm saying is the idea of going and sitting down in the consultations, it's a waste of time, with the greatest of respect.
I don't agree with that.
No, I'm telling you, it serves absolutely no value because you are not going to get it. You're not going to get it that way. So
education, I know, but allow people to be educated. Allow them to make that decision.
Listen, let me tell you what we need.
And make an informed decision.
Here's what we need. You know what we need? We need financial and economic education. That is our biggest stumbling block. Because you know what? At the end of the day, the reality of the world is that you have political parties coming and going, but it's the economy that always dictates things one way or the other. So unless we as Tobagonians start understanding the importance of that financial intelligence, that financial education, how many Tobagonians know who we are talking about? When I ask you, who is Robert F. Smith? Who is Robert F. Smith? Thank you. And that's the reaction I get everywhere. And this is what we need to know. We need to know these things. Robert F. Smith is the richest black man in America. Nobody knows him. You know why? Because he has quietly built up a fortune in equity trading. Right? He built it from his company Versa Equities. And the point is, he's worth $3.5 billion US. right? He's worth even more than Oprah, right? Do you know that Michael Jordan made Forbes billionaire list? You know, the point is, so we need to understand economics and have that macro view for ourselves. And I tell you, once you have reached that point of financial independence, then you don't have to waste time talking about a draft bill, because at that stage, you could then make the decision for yourself.
Okay.
You could tell Trinidad, hey, listen, you know, we're doing so well, our economy is booming so much. We have decided, Trinidad, that we will shake your hand and thank you, and we are going our way.
Okay,
you don't have to beg and ask anybody. As I said, when you are a child growing up in your parents' house, then you have to beg them if you could go out. When you grow up as a man and you're earning your own money, you don't have to beg your parents to go out. So you don't need to go and sit in these
We've got to leave it there this morning, viewers.
On the dispute resolution.
Thank you.
We've got to leave it there.
Your own. In fact,
thank you.
Trinidad money.
Okay, thank you, Mr. George. We've got to leave it there. I tell you, you've got to pull it. Thank you so much, Mr. Martin George. But I will state here, viewers, that you should go out. We've heard Mr. George's views. You should get a copy of these bills, review the bills, go on out to the consultations.
I think there is one today at Works Department, Works Conference.
We're gonna get that information for you by the end of the program, so you get the information on when and where. And I say go on out and get the information. You can make an informed decision when you've got the information. I hear what Mr. George is saying. Thank you so much, Martin.
It was a pleasure.
Viewers, we'll take a break. We've got Nicole Sobers coming up just after the break, and we're talking with her on some of the plans for the Signal Hill Police Youth Club. Stay tuned.